Heyo, EC here, and virtual game cards, right? These are something that Nintendo has done that I don't see a lot of people talking about, but I see a lot of people asking what they are. So obviously, in this video, we're going to go over what virtual game key cards are. If you're interested in this, make sure you stick around. I'm going to explain it all and how they all work. And if you need, make sure you subscribe and give me a like. Maybe if you enjoy it, you give me a like and subscribe. So, virtual game cards are essentially just Nintendo's way of you sort of monitoring, keeping track of what you have in your own game catalog. So with digital games, obviously, all platforms do this. Xbox, PlayStation, they all have this way of you actually seeing what you actually own on your, on your account, basically. And with virtual game cards, that's Nintendo's way of doing it. Now, with this, you actually have the ability to actually share some of these games. So if you have some of these games and you want to loan them to someone who is also on your family plan, so say your son, your daughter, your little brother, your little sister, you can basically, if they're on your family plan for Switch Online, you can lend them one of these digital cards to their Switch for about 14 days. However, you won't be able to use it on your own Switch for 14 days, which is obviously good. It depends whether or not you want to play that game. So if you want to lend them like Super Mario Odyssey for like 14 days, but you're done with Mario Odyssey and you don't want to play it anymore, that's fine. You can obviously do it, but if you want to play Mario Odyssey within that time, then you're going to have a hard time. If you also want to send sort of a game to another Switch in your vicinity that has your account on it that you own, then you can do that as well. But you have to eject the game from your other Switch and load it onto that one. So if you have a Switch 2, and for example, I've got a Switch 2, if I want to play Metroid Prime Remastered on here, which I do have, if I want to play it on a Switch Lite, for example, I have to eject this card from the Switch 2 and obviously load it onto a Switch Lite in order for it to actually, run. And I know it sounds complicated, it sounds like I'm describing a physical game. That's essentially what they're trying to make it feel like with this. But obviously, these are all completely digital downloads. These are all digital games that you buy from the eShop. Now, I do think it is interesting that you can lend up to 3 games at one go. So you can actually lend 3 games to 3 different people on your family plan, which is great, quite good, especially if you have a large game library, especially digitally now, because a lot of people have digital games now. Then it does actually have quite a lot of functionality. However, there is an issue where if you don't sort of sync your switches when you like bring them over, so like if you don't sync your Switch 1 to Switch 2 and you move all the data over, it will obviously cause issues if you actually try and re-download those games. Now, obviously, most people will sync those consoles anyway, because that's how people do it nowadays anyway. It's not like back in the day where you just bought a new console, you just load the games in. This one you just sync and transfer your account over. But as long as your account is on a Switch or Switch 2, it should obviously load it all up. However, we also need to factor in the fact that Switch 2 games, obviously, you can't loan them to Switch 1 users and I say vice versa. You can load Switch 1 games to Switch 2. Switch 2 games and Switch 2 Edition games obviously are only able to be loaded on Switch 2 consoles. And obviously, everything else is able to be loaded across anything. Obviously, digital-only Switch games that require you to actually have Joy-Cons won't work on Switch Lites, obviously, because they're not designed to work on Switch Lites. But besides that, you can load up to 3 people on your family plan cartridges at one go. You can obviously switch these cartridges across different Switches and Switch 2 consoles and all that sort of stuff, as long as they're compatible versions. And you can loan them out for 14 days. But in order to actually swap a cartridge between Switch 1 and Switch 1 and Switch OLED, for example, you have to eject the digital cartridge from one console to the other in order to be able to download it. It's an interesting feature. I don't hate it. It's just overcomplicated. And I know this is similar to like what Xbox and PlayStation do when you can set a certain console as your home console, and then you can download all your games onto that console, or you can obviously just share it with your friends and family or whatever, or you could just keep your own console as a home console. It really depends. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like that stuff. Do you guys use virtual game cards? What do you think about virtual game cards? Do you use it to share your games with friends and family? Do you use it to just play your own games? Do you use it to pick up and play your games across different systems? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. What stuff? I've been EC and I'm signing out. Peace.